Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. So today I'm going to cover the topic Apache Kafka and how we can use the Kafka as a message broker in the Spring Boot. So I'm just going to brief you about the Apache Kafka in this video, and in the coming video I will brief you how you can use Spring Boot and how we can combine Apache Kafka and Spring Boot together to carry out the work. And I will also try to create the consumer and the producer app in the Spring Boot, and with the help of Apache Kafka how the producer can produce the messages that the consumer application can consume. So I will show you all of this thing. I will cover Apache Kafka, each aspect, and how we can use Apache Kafka in Spring Boot. If you aware about the Apache Kafka features, then you will be able to include this Apache Kafka in any of the application or in any of the tool development tool that you are going to use. So let me go to the next, and then let me show you a scenario where the Apache Kafka came into the picture. So let's say when you go to your company, okay, and you are trying to develop a small system, okay, which is having a source system and the target system. So let's say you are going to develop a simple CRUD application which is having a source system as a database, which is, let's say, MySQL, and your target system is, let's say, it's a front end application which is React. Okay, so and you are managing both of them. So in the back side you are managing the database, and the front side you are managing the application. Now the data communication between both of the source system and the target system is very easy because you are only having one source system and the one target system. So it is very easy to manage the source system and the target system and the data processing between them. But what if we have multiple source system and the multiple target system which are working together and you have to manage it? So it will be very much difficult to manage those things. So let me go to the next slide and show you the scenario where we have the multiple source system and the multiple target system. So let's say you have 10 source system and you have 10 target system, and one source system can send the data to let's say more than one target system, and the protocol between target system and the source system is, for one system it is TCP, for the second system it is HTTP. So managing each of the application and managing their data flow is very difficult, it's very complicated. So this is where the Apache Kafka came into the picture, and this is how the Apache Kafka solving this scenario. So coming to the next slide, what does Apache Kafka do? So it does the decoupling of the source system and the target system. So Apache Kafka is application that come as a middle application. So whenever a source system is sending a data to the target system, it don't directly send the data to the target system. It's push their data to the Apache Kafka, and then Apache Kafka will take care of that, and then it send the data back to the target system, which is the respective target system. So the decoupling of the data stream and the system is what Apache Kafka do, and that is why it is very much popular. Now coming to the next slide, what is Apache Kafka? So Apache Kafka is a distributed streaming platform, publish subscribe messaging system. You can also say a messaging system lets you send a message between the processes, application, and the server. So these are the work that Apache Kafka do. So based upon that, we can name the Apache Kafka like this. Okay, so coming to the next point, Apache Kafka is used for build real-time data pipeline and streaming applications. And coming to the next point, it is describing about the feature of Apache Kafka. It is a horizontally scalable. It is fault tolerant and fast and run in a production in many thousands of the companies. So fault tolerance means if one instance of the Apache Kafka is down, then the with the help of the other instance we can manage the work. So that is this is very much scalable. This is very much fault tolerant, and many of the companies are using Apache Kafka in their production. Now coming to the key component of the Kafka. So let me name each of the key component of the Kafka and explain you. So first is the cluster. broker, producer, consumer, topic, partitions, offset, consumer group, and the replication. Now coming to the cluster. So cluster is nothing but it is a group of computer acting together for a common purpose. So that is what a cluster means. If a group of computer is connected and they are working together for a common purpose, then that is called a cluster. Now coming to the broker. So broker is nothing but a Apache Kafka server. So Apache Kafka runs as a cluster on a one or more servers that can span multiple data center. An instance of a cluster is broker. So Apache Kafka server instance is a broker. So let's say Apache Kafka is server is running on more than one cluster. So one instance of the Apache Kafka server is called broker. Now coming to the producer and consumer. So producer is nothing but it is an application which has the job to write the data to the broker. So basically the producer is application that write the data to the Apache Kafka server, and consumer is nothing but it is an application that read the data from the broker. That means read the data from the server, Apache Kafka server, or it requests the data from the Apache Kafka server. Now coming to the topic. So let's say let me go back and then explain you. So what happens is a producer application just send the data to the Apache Kafka, okay, server, and then the consumer try to consume the data from the server. But let's say we have more than one producer, okay, and everyone is sending the data to the Apache Kafka server, and the consumers are consuming the data from the server. But where the producer produce the data to the server, so there come the picture of topic. So basically the producer sends the data to the Apache Kafka server on topics. So what is topic? So topic is a unique name for the Kafka stream. So let's say producer is sending one stream of data, and where it is sending to the Apache Kafka server. So on that server we have a unique stream on which the producer sends the data, which is called topic, and the topic can be divided into the multiple partitions. So there is a naming called partition. There is a term called partition in Kafka. So whenever the topic is divided into more than one pieces, then that is called partitions, and each partition can occupy, like one partition can not run on more than one computer. So one partition can run only on one computer. So coming to the this is the topic. So it is a unique name for the Kafka stream. Topic is a category or feed name to which messages are stored and published. If you wish to send a message, you send it to a specific topic, and if you wish to read a message, you read it from a specific topic. Now, let me go to the topic. Why we need a topic? In the same Kafka cluster, data from a many different sources can be coming at the same time. Example logs, web activities, metrics. So the topic are useful to identify that this data is stored in a particular topic. Okay, producer application write the data to a topic, and consumer application read the data from the topic. Okay, so that is why the topic is very unique. And let's say one consumer, let's say more than one producer is sending the data to the same topic. Let's say 10 producers, and they are sending the data to a topic called topic 1, and let's say we have 5 consumers, and they are consuming the data from the topic 1. Now when the consumer 1 comes to consume the data from topic 1, and he is wanting the data from the producer 1, so how he can differentiate between that? How he aware that we are consuming the data from the topic producer 1 on the topic 1, not from producer 2? How the Kafka is dealing with all those things? So there is a picture of let's say partition offset. So partition offset is a sequential ID, okay, and based upon that, the consumer is able to differentiate that which message is coming from which topic, sorry, from which producer. So if you have a topic name, if you have a partition number, and if you have a offset, say offset ID, then with the combination of all these three, the consumer will be able to find out or differentiate the unique stream that is sent on the particular topic. Okay, so this is about the partition offset. So partition offset is let's say message in the partition are each assigned to a unique per partition and sequential ID called offset. Consumers track their pointers via offset, partition, and topics and tuples. Okay, so this is about partition and offset. Now coming to the consumer and consumer group. So we already have discussed consumer. Coming to the consumer group, let's say if 10 producer has produced some events, some data to the topic 1, and we have the 5 consumers to consume it. Let's say these 5 consumers are not able to consume all the data, then we make a group of 10 consumers that will be working together to consume the data. So the group of consumers is called consumer group, and they are working on a particular event to complete that. So consumers can read the message starting from a specific offset and are allowed to read from any offset point they choose. This allows consumer to join the cluster at any point of the time. Consumers can join a group called consumer group. Consumer group includes the set of consumer processes that are subscribing to a specific topic. And what about replication? So in Kafka, replication is implemented at the partition level, helps to prevent the data loss. So we are keeping the replica of the partitions so that we, whenever one partition is lost, then we can track that replica and then get the data. So to avoid the data loss, we are replicating the partitions. So this is about the terms in the Kafka. In the coming videos, I will tell you how you can install the Kafka on the Windows, and then we'll try to create the consumer and the publisher app, and we'll try to get the communication between them. So if you in this video, what I am going to do, I'm just going to install the Kafka on Windows machine. So how we will be doing that, I will be showing you. So coming to the slide, you can see this is the link from where you can download the Kafka. So I will copy it from here and then come to the browser. You can come here and then open the download link. So this is the new version of the Kafka 3.3.1, and this binary download you have to do for the Windows. So either of one you can download. So let's say by clicking on this link, you can see it is starting downloaded. So you can see it is started downloading. So let me pause it, and then because I already have downloaded it for me, so let me pause it. So I will show you where it is. So from here you can download it. Any of the two you can download from here, either 2.12 or 2.13. Now coming to my download, I will show you where it is. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, I already copied, and I made a folder called Kafka here in this location. Let's say here I made the folder called Kafka, and then I paste it out here. Okay, so next thing what you need to do, this is a binary file. So you need to unzip it. So for unzipping that, I have one command. You can take it from here and then you can unzip it. Or if you need the whole PPT, then you can comment down in the video so that I can provide this PPT for you. So you can see this is the command. You can copy it and you have to run this on the command prompt. So let me brief you about the command. So this is the command, and this is the source from where you are picking the file, and this is the location where you want to unzip it. Okay, so I created this folder called Kafka, and there I put it, and then in the same folder I'm going to unzip it. So let me copy this. Now let me go and open a command prompt. paste it out, and then you can see it extracted out all the jar files. So let me go there and then show you. So you can come here. You can see it has extracted it out. Now go inside it. You can see there is a folder called bin, config, libs, license, and site docs. So inside the bin, you can go for the window. Here you can find the bat file for Zookeeper, Kafka server. Okay, so bat file for each of the thing is their producer, consumer. So next, what I will tell you, I will tell you how you can start the Zookeeper server and how you can start the Kafka server. So once you are done with the unzipping of the file, there are steps that you need to follow. So, so once your software is unzipped, what you need to do, I'm just going to show you how you can create the Kafka server. Okay, how you can make the Zookeeper up, how you can make the Kafka server up, how you can create a topic, okay, how you can publish something on the topic, how you can consume something on the topic. So those things I'm going to show you, and then in the next video I will be creating a publisher with the help of a Spring Boot, and then we'll publish something on the topic. So to why we are starting the Zookeeper? So we are starting the Zookeeper so that it make a cluster, and globally the Kafka server can work. So that is why we are starting the Zookeeper server. So I already have given the path of that. So you can come wherever you have downloaded the wherever you have extracted out the file, you can go inside it. You go to the bin and go to the Windows. There in the last you can see there is a Zookeeper server.start. This is the bat file that you need to start. And let me come out. You can see here is a config folder. Inside that you can see the Zookeeper properties file. So both thing you have to provide in the command. You can come here. Let me show you the command. It's also there here. So you can see we are hitting the bat file, and then we are taking up the Zookeeper properties files for the configuration. So this is the command. So let me go there and then try to open the Zookeeper file. So let me go to the window. Here let me open a command prompt, and then let me select the Zookeeper server.start.bat. Okay. Now let me come here and let me, this is the same commands that I kept it here in the Postman. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to make the Zookeeper server up. So, okay. So you can see, okay, first of all, let me try to do some rename. Okay. So come here to the config. Let me go to the Kafka. Okay. Let me try to rename this so that it will be easy for us whenever we are going to run the command. So every time we need to provide this name. Okay, so let me rename it to Kafka. Okay, and let me, yeah, let it be like this. Go inside it, go to the bin, go to Windows, and then open a command prompt here. Okay, so it is up. Let me close the earlier one. So come here. Let me close this. Let me close the command prompt this also. So we are there inside this folder. Now let me select the Zookeeper server.bat, and what I need to provide the properties file location. So where is the properties Zookeeper.properties? It is inside the config file. Okay, so come here. Let me copy this. But this is not the path for the config, because where is the config for us is, you can come out of it. You can see we have two Kafka here, and then we have the config, and this is the part for config, where the Zookeeper properties file is there. So let me copy this, come to the command. Let me replace with this and then we are okay. So Zookeeper slash config. Yeah. So this is the location of the properties file. Let me copy this. This is the whole command. What you need to do, you need to provide the, uh, you can come to this window folder and then you can make the, you can select this Zookeeper server.start bat file and then you need to provide the location of the Zookeeper properties file and then hit the command. Copy this, come here. Let me put a space and then hit it. So it will take few seconds to make it up. So once it is up, you can start the this Kafka server bat file. So this is, you can see this is the Zookeeper and it is started. Now coming here, let me come, and for to start the Kafka, when the Kafka will be started, you can see inside the C drive, it will create a temporary folder and there the Kafka log will be generated. Okay, so I already have tried this, so let me select all and delete it. Not deleting the log. Don't worry, if you are doing for first time, it is not for you. It automatically generate for you. So now coming, what is the next step? The next step is to start the Kafka server, Kafka server bat file. Okay, so let me try to do that. So where it is, so let me go there and then open a command prompt and then try to see. So we are inside the window. Okay, not this. Okay, let me go to the bin folder, to the Windows, and then let me try to open a command prompt here. So what I'm doing is I'm just making the Zookeeper up, making this Kafka server up, and then I will try to create a topic. I will try to produce something on the topic and then try to consume it out. So I will show you whole flow of the Kafka, how it is working. And then we'll try to go for the Spring Boot and we'll create a Spring Boot application and then try to see everything, like try to publish something from the Spring Boot application and then see how it is behaving, how it is publishing to the Kafka topic. And I will create a Spring Boot application which also consume what the other Spring Boot application is producing. So let me make the Kafka server up. So we are inside this. Let's say it's Kafka server start bat. Now we need to provide the uh, path of the config of the properties file. Okay, so the properties file is inside the config folder. So let me come here. This is the path for the config folder. Okay, let me copy this. Let me paste it here. Because we have two Kafka folders, so that is why earlier I was having only one, so I made the command like that. So let me copy this. Now come here. Okay, make a space and then we are good. Now hit this. So once it is up, what we can do, I will show you how you can create a Kafka topic. So it is up. Now come, now the next step is to create a topic. So to create a topic, this is the command. Okay, so Kafka topic bat file will need to make up and then we need to run this command. And this is the default port for the topic. Okay, so and this is what you need to give the topic name. So let's say I'm going to give the topic name as Ravi. Okay, and then let me try to create it. So we need to make the Kafka topic dot bat and then we'll see. So copy it. Now coming here, come to the Windows, Okay, let me close the first one. Let me open a command prompt here, and then it is, what was the command? Let me go there. So the bat file is Kafka topic. Okay, so let me come here. Okay, before that, what I want is to show you that we have couple of topics created. So with this command, you can come and see what all the topics you have created. So you can see Kafka topic, and then you need to run this command. So I will show you first, and then I will try to create it. So let me come here and let me type the Kafka hyphen topic. Okay, dot bat, and then we'll list out all the topics that is there. So you can see I have these three topics. Okay, now I'm going to create the new topic. So let me remove this. This is the bad file that you need to run. Now let me copy the other command. So it is create, and I am giving the name as, let's say, not Ravi, let's say it's engineering adda. Okay, so let me copy this. Now come to the command prompt, and here you can paste it out. Okay, so just enter it, and you can see one topic is created. Now earlier command you can run and then see how many topic you have. So you have this four topics. Okay, now coming to the next step is to produce something on the topic. Okay, so here you have to give the topic name. Okay, let me copy this and paste it out. And to produce something, you need to use the Kafka console producer.bat, and this is the command that you need to run. So let me copy it. Let me go to the Windows. Let me open a command prompt here, and Kafka topic dot produce. Okay, let me see what was that. So it is Kafka console producer. So let me come here. Kafka console producer. Okay, so this is the bat file that we need to use, and the rest of command is this. Make sure you are providing the topic name that you are going to use. So let me paste it out, and then let me hit it. So it will give you this arrow sign, and you can provide anything here. So let me I am just going to send some message. So let's say it's a welcome to engineering adda, something like that. Okay, and then next message also you can provide. So welcome to YouTube, something like that. Okay, similarly you can provide couple of messages. Let me minimize this. So the next step is to consume this whatever we have produced. So there is a you need to use this bat file Kafka console consumer, and then this is the command that you need to do. Here you need to provide the topic name. So let me copy this topic and then provide it here. So from beginning, whatever you have produced, it will show you there in the consumer. So consumer will consume every topic, every messages that you have produced to the topic. So now coming to Windows, let me open a command prompt here, and we need to use the Kafka console and consumer, and then rest of the command. So let me hit it. So you can see, we can see a welcome to engineering adda. Okay, what we have produced here is welcome to engineering adda, and then let me hit the YouTube also. So here you can see welcome to YouTube is also coming. So whatever messages that you are publishing using the publisher on the topic, the same messages you can see here on the consumer. Like consumer is consuming the messages from the topic. So let me send some few new messages. So let's say please subscribe, something like that, for more such content. Let me hit it. So here you can see we are able to see that it is coming on the consumer. So this is about the how we can install the Kafka on the Windows machine, and uh, how we can keep the Zookeeper up, how we can keep the server up, and how we can create a topic, how we can produce something from the producer, and how we can consume it. So this is whole about the Kafka, how it is working on the Windows. Now in the next session, I'm just going to create a Spring Boot application for the producer, and then in the next session, I will create a Spring Boot application for the consumer. So I will show you how we can produce something from the Spring Boot REST API, and how we can consume it into the another Spring Boot application. So this is about this video, guys. If you So in this video, I am going to create a Spring Boot publisher app. In the earlier video, I have discussed about the introduction to the Kafka and Kafka key component, and I have also discussed about how the Kafka is working, how we can start the Zookeeper, how we can start the Kafka server, and how we can create a topic, how we can publish something on the topic, how we can consume something from the topic. So everything I have discussed. So if you are new to the Kafka, you can watch those video, and then from there after you can continue. So here in this video, I am going to create a Spring Boot application, which is a publisher app, and that app I will create a API. From there, what I will do, I will I will try to hit some APIs, and then that API will send some message on the topic, and that messages will be consumed by a publisher, sorry, subscribe consumer. So that is what I'm going to cover in this video. So let me go to the IntelliJ and let's get started with the development. So let me go to the IntelliJ file, new, and then create a Spring Boot project here. So let's say the name of the project is Kafka Publisher Application. Okay, go next. I need some dependency here. So Spring Web, Lombok, and then I need the Kafka starter dependency. So Spring for Apache Kafka is the starter dependency that we need. Let me create the application. Let me open in a new tab. It will take few seconds to configure itself. So let me tell you what I'm going to develop here. So I'm just simply going to develop a REST API that will be sending some string messages. Okay, we are not going to deal with the raw data. So if you are going to deal with the raw data, then you need to do the Kafka configuration separately. If you're not, if you're using the strings, then directly you can use the Kafka template. So I'm directly going to use the Kafka template. I will create a API, and from there I will send some strings. Okay, so that thing I'm going to do. If you want me to cover how we can use the Kafka with the let's say raw data, then I can create a separate video in details how we can use the Kafka with Spring Boot, and more uh, more detailed video I will create how we can use the Kafka on different aspects of the applications. So if you need that, just please let me know in the comment section. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do the configuration. So let me see if this is configured itself or not. Yeah, it is configured. So what I'm going to do, let me try to create a controller here. So let me create a package called controller. Let me try to create a controller. So let's say it's a publisher controller, publisher controller. Okay. Okay. So let me annotate this at the rest controller, and let me put the APIs here. So let's say it's a request mapping. Okay, let me put the API mapping as a API. Okay. Now coming here, I need the Apache Kafka. So for that, I'm going to auto-wire it private Kafka template. And here we need to pass as an argument, like the topic that we are passing is a string and the data is in the form of object. So let me do that. Now let me create a mapping. So I'm directly going to use the get mapping. Okay. And let me try to create the topic here. So let's say private string topic. Okay. And let's say the topic name is engineering adda. In the earlier video, I have created this topic. So I'm going to use that. Okay. Now let me create the mapping here. So let's say it's a get message. Okay. And then we are passing the name here. Okay. So get something like that. I'm going to create the method. It should be public. Return side type should be string. And here we are passing in the path variable name. So it should be string name. Okay. Now coming to this, let me copy the Kafka and then let me send the message here. So in the message we need to provide these two argument. One is the topic and the second is the data. So let's say I'm going to print this data. So let's say hi, and then let's say it's a name, and then welcome to engineering adda. Okay. So let me put the semicolon here, and I'm simply returning the message like data published. Data is published by publisher. Okay. So this data should be sent to the topic, and from consumer we can see the consumer is how the consumer is consuming this data. And whenever we are hitting this API, we are seeing this message that data is published by the publisher. So with the name of with the name this topic, like with this engineering adda as a topic name, I already created the topic in my Kafka. So let me open the Zookeeper and the Kafka server, and after that what I will do, I will try to show you how it is behaving. So let me do that. So I already have the command for that. I in the previous video I showed you how you can make the Zookeeper up, how you can make the Kafka server up, okay, how you can create the topic, okay, how you can list out the topic what already existing, how you can produce something and how you can consume something. So I'm not going to cover all this here. So now let me open the Zookeeper. So let me go to the folder where I have installed the Kafka. So it is inside YouTube. Okay, let me go there. Let me go inside this. Go to the bean, Windows. In previous video, I already showed you how you can do this. Let me open a command prompt, and for the Zookeeper, I already have the command here. So let's say it's Zookeeper and this whole path. Let me paste it out and then let me hit the run. So you can see this Zookeeper is up. Now let me open a second command prompt to make the Kafka server up. Okay, let me come to the command. Kafka server is start, and this is the command. Let me come copy this and then come here. Let me paste it here. Okay, so it is also up. Now coming to the third command. First of all, let me show you what all the topics that we have created. So for that, we need to make the Kafka topic bat, and then we need to list out this. So we need to run this up command. So let me go to the window and then open a CMD here. Let me paste the command and then run it. So it will show you what all the topics that are already existing. Okay. Okay, it is giving some error. Let me terminate this. So I think I have not cleared the log for the Kafka server, so that is why it is coming. Let me close the Kafka server here. So I made this Control C. So you can terminate this and then let me close it. So let me clear the Kafka logs. So coming to the Windows C, you can go to the temp folder and here you can see the Kafka log. So let me copy everything and let me put the log unselected and then let me try to delete. Okay, once it is done, let me try to reopen the Kafka server. So let it complete. Okay, now go to the command prompt. Let me close the command and prompt and then open a new one. So where it is, we are inside the Kafka. Okay, go to the YouTube, Kafka, Kafka, bin and Windows. So Zookeeper is up. We need to up the Kafka server. So for that, let me copy the command, fresh command where it is. So it is here. Let me come here and then let me paste it out. So let it up and then what I need to show you all the created topics. So for that we have the command and for that we need to open the CMD here. Let me come to the notepad and then copy this command. So this is the command for that. Okay, I already open a CMD. Let me paste it out and then hit it. So you can see we have this four topics. I already created this engineering adda and the same topic I am going to use when I'm sending the data from the Spring Boot application. Okay, and let me up the consumer also so that I will show you whatever message that we are sending is consumed by the consumer. So for consumer, we have this command. This is the command. Okay, so let me come here. Let me come here and then let me paste it out. So nothing is there now as of now. Now let me try to send something from the application. So let me make this application up. So run this application. Okay, and this is our API, and then get message, and then we are providing the name here. Okay, let me minimize this. So it is up on port number 8080. Let me come to the browser. Let me come here. Let me type the HTTP localhost 8080 and then it is API and then get message, and then we need to provide the name. Let's say it's Ravi or something like that. Yeah, and then hit it. So you can see we are getting this message, data is published by the publisher. Now come to the consumer, and you can see we are able to see this. Hi Ravi, welcome to Engineering Adda. This is the message that we are sending from here. So let me come here. You can see we are sending the message on the topic is hi, the name that we passed, and then welcome to Engineering Adda. So let me try to send some different names here. So let's say it's Rahul, and let me hit it. Come to the topic, sorry, come to the consumer, and you can see hi Rahul, welcome to Engineering Adda. So it is working fine. So our publisher is working fine. Okay. So if you need the example how we can deal with the raw data, then please comment it out so that I can create a different video. So we need to do some basic configuration for that, and then we can also use that. So thanks for this video. In the next video, I will be going to create a consumer, and then I will show you how you can consume the data which is sent by one application, and which can be consumed by the other Spring Boot application which is working like a consumer. So thanks for the video guys, and so today I'm going to create a Spring Boot consumer application. So in the earlier video I have briefed about the Apache Kafka, created a whole Apache Kafka video where where I showed you that how you can create the topics, how you can produce and consume from the topics. Then I created one Spring Boot publisher application, and we try to publish some messages from the publisher application APIs, and then we were able to see that how we are able to get those messages in the consumer. So now in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a consumer application, and whatever data that we are sending from the publisher, that will be consumed by the consumer application. So both application will be working fine. So let me go and let me try to develop this. So let me go to the file, and let me try to create the application here. So let's say it is Kafka consumer application. Okay, now let me go next. Let me use this is starter dependencies, and we also need the Kafka. So Spring for Kafka. Okay, now let me go and create this application. So it will take few seconds to configure itself. Once it is configured, we can start our development. So here what I will do, I will try to create the APIs, and using that API, we'll try to see that how this application is consuming the messages from the publisher. Okay, so first of all, what I need to do, I need to do some configurations. Okay, and after that, we'll try to create the API, and then we'll see how it is working. Let me go and open this and then see. So it is not yet configured. So let me try to close it and then open again. So let me go open recent Apache consumer. Okay, let me open in a new tab. It will load in the form of Maven. So here will it will prompt something, and then Maven load, something like that. Load Maven project. Okay. Okay, so I think it is resolving the dependency that we have added. Once it is resolved, what we can do, we can try with our development. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to create the configuration class. Okay, after that, I will try to create the APIs. So let me close this and then come to the source main and Java. Let me try to create a package called config. Okay, and let me try to create a package called controller. Or let's say we are not going to create the controller. In the main class only, I'm going to call the APIs here. So let me create a class called configuration class. Okay, let me edit. Okay, now let me annotate this with configuration. Now let me, so what we need to do, we need to create the bean of consumer factory and the bean of concurrent Kafka listener container factory. So we need to create bean of these two. Okay, after that only what we'll do, we'll try to uh, create the APIs. So let me create the bean public consumer factory. Okay, let me provide here string and string. So let me name this to the consumer factory, and then here we need to do some configuration. So let me create a map first. Okay, map of a string, an object. Okay, let's say it's a map, and or let's say it's a config. New hash map. Let me import the map here. Okay, now let me try to do the configuration. So on the config we need to put consumer config dot bootstrap service server config. So here in the bootstrap server config, what will provide, will provide the uh, localhost URL on which the Kafka is working. So for us, the Kafka is working on the port number 9092. In the earlier, this is the default port for the Kafka. In the command, I already used the 9092. So we need to do this configuration. So this is the configuration for the port number. So let me use consumer config dot bootstrap server config, and the server URL is localhost, and the, yeah, it's a localhost 9092. Okay, now let me configure other things also. So it is, let me copy paste it out and then try to do. So let me copy it. Now come down and paste it out. I need to do couple of configurations. So let me do. So it is the second configuration is to consumer config dot key deserializer class config. So here we are using deserializer. So whatever message we are getting from the topic, we need to deserialize it. So let's say key deserializer class config, and here we are using the string. So that is why I need the string deserializer class here. So string deserializer. We were producing the string on the topic, so we are using string here. Now coming to the value deserializer class config. So we are using a string. So let me copy this and let me remove this. Okay, now coming to the last configuration, which is a group ID config. So we are using group ID to define the let's say data type. So here we are using string. Sometimes we can also use the raw data. Sometimes we can use the JSON. So for that we need to define the data type group ID config. So let's say for this what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a group ID config for the streams, and I'm naming it like let's say engineering adda 1, something like that. Now what I need to, we are done with the configuration. What I will do, I will try to return the object of default Kafka consumer factory. So here you can see, and here what we need to do, pass, we need to pass the config here. So let me pass it out and then let me return it. Now what we need to do, we need to pass this consumer factory method inside the concurrent Kafka listener container factory. So we are using concurrent Kafka listener container factory to configure to get the beans of it, and with the help of this concurrent Kafka listener container factory only, we are uh, trying to get the data from the topic. So let me create the bean of it. Bean public concurrent Kafka listener container factory, first one. And here what we need to pass, we need to pass a string, and the value is also string. Let me Kafka listener container factory. Okay, now what I need to do, I need to create a object of it. So this is the method. Now let me create Kafka listener factory, new Kafka listener factory. Okay, let me minimize this so that I can show you. Okay, now let me put it down. So we are creating the object of Kafka concurrent Kafka listener container factory, and what I will do here, I will try to set the uh, con consumer factory here. So when we'll try to pass out the consumer factory that we have created above, and then we'll return it. So let's say dot set consumer factory, and this is the consumer factory. We are getting the object from here of the consumer factory. Let me try to call it, and we'll simply return this object of the concurrent Kafka listener container factory. So let me return it. Now we are done with the configuration. Now let me go to create the APIs. So for APIs, okay, let me go here. Let me come to the main class. Let me annotate this with the @rest controller, and I need to create a list of like array list of or list of string, so that whatever messages that the producer has produced to the topic, we can get it from the topic and then publish it. Like consumer can get it from the topic and then consume it. So I'm creating a list, okay, and in that list we'll see what all the messages that the consumer is able to consume from the topic. Okay, so let's say it's a list of a string. Okay, let's say its name is messages, new array list. Okay, now let me create a API get mapping. Okay, let me create the method here. Get message from topic, get message from topic. Oh, sorry, topic. Okay, now its return type should be list of strings. So let me do that. Okay, let me import the list here. Okay, so and we are passing the data here. So and whatever, okay, so I will do some configuration here and then I will show you. So sorry, this get mapping is getting the message from the topic, okay, and let's say this is the method get message from the topic, okay, now and we are passing the data here and we are simply returning the message, return messages. Okay, let me remove this. We are not passing any data. We are simply getting the data and in the form of message and then returning the message. And this in this message, we'll try to add all the data streams that are there on the topic. And let me create the API here. So let's say it's consume something like that. Consume from topic. Okay. So how this is the API that will try to hit to get the message from the topic. Okay. Now how we can consume the message from the topic. So for that we need to create a method and that method would be annotated with Kafka listener so that it can listen to the topic. So let me create the method first. So let's say it's a public list of a string. Okay. Now let me name it. So let's say message from consume from topic, something like that. Consume from topic. Okay. Let me pass the data here and let me do the configuration first. So it should be configured with Kafka listener so that it can listen the messages from the topic. So and here in the topic, what we need to do, we need to provide in the Kafka listener, we need to provide the group ID and the topic from which the message is to be listened. Okay, and the we need to provide the bean container factory bean. So these three things that we need to provide here. So let me provide it. So let's say group ID. What is the group ID that we have provided here? So the group ID is this. So let me copy it from here. come to the main class. Let me provide the group ID here. Now coming to the topic. So let's say what was the topic that we have created. So the topic that I have created is engineering adda. So I'm using that. So let's say engineering adda, and then what we need to provide, we need to provide the bin name of the container factory. So let's say container factory, and the name was Kafka listener container factory. Okay, let me go to the configuration, and this is the name. So copy it, come here, and let provide it. So now what it is doing, it is getting the data from the topic, and it is simply adding it in the message list. So let me call the message here dot add, and then pass the data here, and then return the message. Okay, so we are done with the configuration. So we are getting the data from the topic, and with this git mapping, what we are doing, we are displaying all the data which we get from the topic. Okay, so now let me show you. I already have this Zookeeper and server up, and I also showed you that I have created this topics. Okay, now coming to the consumer, I have sent couple of data from the publisher, and we can see that it is coming to the consumer. Now let me try to run the publisher, and then send the data from the publisher, and then try to run the topic, and then sorry, try to run the consumer, and then see how the consumer is behaving, if it is getting the data which is published by the publisher or not. So first of all, let me run this. Okay, let me change the server port. So let's say the port is 9000 or 9001, 9001, and then let me run this application. So once this application is up, we'll try to send some message stream from the publisher, and then we'll try to see how it is behaving, if those things are able to consume by the consumer or not. So you can see this is up. Okay, now let me try to hit the API first, and then show you what is coming. So let me go to the main class. This is the API. Let me copy it. Application is up on the port. Okay, let me open again. So the application was up on the port 9001. So, and the API for this is, so we are not able to see any data now. Okay, now let me try to send couple of data from the publisher. So here you can see publisher is up, and the publisher is up on the port number. Okay, let me see. It is 8080, I think. Yeah, it is 8080, and this is the API for the publisher. So let me copy the API. Now come to the browser. Let me try to make the URL here localhost 8080, and then pass it, and then we need to pass the name. So let's say this time I'm passing the name as Akash. Okay, and then send it. So it is not working. Okay, let me come here to the publisher, and let's see what is happening. So okay, it is API here that we are not using in the URL. So let me try to do that. API slash get message slash name. So you can see data is published by the publisher. Now coming to the consumer. Okay, let's say how it is behaving, because from so many hours it is not touched, so I don't know if it is working or not. So let me try to get this data what we have published from the application that we created, that is the consumer application. So right now I showed you that the consumer application was not having any data. Now what I did, I just sent the data from the publisher, and let me try to run this API. Let me try to hit this URL of the consumer, and let's see. So you can see this time we are able to see that whatever data that we published from the publisher, the consumer is able to consume it. Now let me try to publish some another data. So let's say name is Neha, and let me send it. Now coming to the consumer, let me refresh it. You can see we are able to get the message from the publisher. So whatever messages that we are sending from the publisher, we are able to consume by the consumer. Okay, so you can also see all those things here, but it is freezed, I think. This is the consumer portal, consumer console. So you can see all these messages that is sent by the publisher to the consumer, but it is freezed now. Let me try to close it, and then okay, you can see it now. Akash, welcome to engineering, and Neha, welcome to engineering. So everything is working now. So we are done with the development of consumer application, and it is working fine. Okay, let me close this. Okay, so we are done with the development of the consumer application, and it is working fine. So if you need this code base, I will push this code to the GitHub, and from there you can find it out. I will pin the link of the GitHub in the comment section. Okay, and if you like this video, then please hit the like button, and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.